Marek, welcome to the show.
Hi, Vic. It's a pleasure to be here.
I'm excited to have you on. I've been learning a little bit about your journey and what you're up to, and I think this is going to be a fun convo. It's going to create some inspiration for others, and I'm looking forward to this time together. So, thanks for taking time to be on with us. As the listeners know, I like to get right into things. So, tell me a little bit about your story, but kind of how you got into what you're doing today. Like, what led you to this? To the path? What's the path that led you to where you are today?
All right. So, most of my life, I was in marketing and I was leading big advertising companies and working for top brands that now I'm not so happy about, like Coca-Cola, BK, Pizza Hut, and all the big ones. Not so great for longevity. And at one point, I decided, hey, I have to get inspired and do something else. And I was traveling a lot. I spent a lot of time in California. And there I went to an amazing conference about the technologies that are going to change the world within the next 10, 20, 30 years. And that was about cosmos and space exploration, but it was also about cryonics and longevity. And that inspired me. I just decided, hey, I want to do something that is important for the world and not just serve whatever, and have a meaningless life. And then I decided, okay, first I have to go in the direction of longevity just to make sure I will live a couple of hundreds of years. I know this is a big goal. And then I can turn into space exploration and just to fly to other planets. So that was the start. It took me a couple of years. I think the industry wasn't ready for me yet. So I went into robotics. But this year in March, I told my company, hey, I can just help you do what you do just 1 or 2 days a week. And the rest I dedicate to longevity. And that's how I decided to go on a quest with my son around the world to learn about longevity to its deepest and to get to know the whole industry. And then to share it with the world by doing a documentary with my son, Beyond Time.
I love that. And I love how you're doing this with your son. I think that's just awesome. What a memory that he will cherish for the rest of his life and remember this time. So I think that's just awesome to do. And I can't wait to dive a little more into that. But before I do, I just have to ask you. You're talking about space exploration. You're in robotics. I mean, are you looking to create is one of your goals to have like a robot or a robotic system, like that you don't have to worry about doing anything. It'll take care of it for you and get you into outer space and all that fun stuff.
I think it's all about living. It's about enjoying life. So if someone else or something else is doing everything for you, it's not fun anymore. So that's not for me. Of course, robotics, AI is great to speed up the research, to give us more possibilities. But hey, we still need living.
And I couldn't agree with you more there. That's one thing that got me years ago. I started going into like woodworking, and I'm such a novice at it still to this day. But it's one of the things where you can just go buy a table, a dining room table, or something like that, or I can make it myself. And there's just something different about me making it. Yes, there's a lot of mistakes because I am learning, but it's like that's mine. I made that. That was made by me. And maybe there's pride in there, but you said something about, if everyone's just doing everything for you, it's not living. And I think there's a lot to that. And I can't wait to break that down a little bit too. Because I've noticed that now. Now it's fun because my wife wants something and I could say, take a picture and I can build it for you. And I've gotten a lot better now. She's even seen, like, we were just taking down one of my first projects I ever did like 7 years ago. And the way I was fixing it, because we were shrinking, it was a king size headboard and footboard, and we made it a queen. And because I didn't want to buy a new one, and I said, "You know how much wood's on this?" I go, "You know how much this cost?" I was like, "Let's just keep. This is such great work. This is quality. It's going to last a very long time." And then she saw me do the work. She's like, "I could see you've improved a little bit." I'm like, "I'm learning. I'm getting there, but it's enjoyable." So I wanted to comment on that just to share. But what are some of the things that, you said you're going to live a couple hundred years. I mean, genes say we can leave at least live based on the genes 120. And that's just based on our very minimal knowledge of what we know. What are some of the cool things about longevity that really intrigues you?
Okay, so first of all, yes, 120 is for now. with all the treatments and the knowledge about medicine and our body that we have now. But when we started our quests in Ireland, it was at Longevity Summit Dublin, and we had an opportunity to interview top scientists from all over the world. And one of the interviews was with Steve Horvath, a very renowned scientist who is very cautious about, saying crazy stuff. And when I asked him about longevity escape velocity, and longevity escape velocity is a moment when, each year we will be getting more years to our lifespan than the year that is passing. So actually we will start living longer and longer every year and not die. And I asked him about that. And he said, now we can live to 120, but with radical life extension tools that are coming, it might be possible to change that. And actually, we will get to longevity escape velocity because it's pure math. So whether it's going to be in 10 years or in 50 years, it's coming. So this is like the best thing, that it's not science fiction anymore. Like, this is the real science. And this gives me a lot of hope and confidence.
No, I love that, because a lot of the stuff that I've looked into when it comes to longevity, it's all about how do we slow down the clock, right? And when you're talking about the escape velocity and everything, to really slow that down drastically. And I always say, I don't know if we'll ever be able to stop that clock per se, but there are theories that we might be able to. But there are some cool things where when you start looking at like basic regenerative medicine, right, how we can repair joints, and now we can look at organs, potentiality of organ healing and regrowth and stuff like that. I know supplements that could potentially do that. But then we go into, this is the world I love. That's why I want to have you on the show. There's frequency medicine and quantum healing, quantum beds and stuff like that. And I heard that's going to be a game changer. When you're talking about escape velocity, this is going to be where you can take something and restore, not to the, again, I don't know where that can go, but the potential of what I keep hearing and what I've read and when I get chances to is mind blowing to be able to know. And then for some people, maybe the listeners are hearing this and going, that's great, but how much would that cost for someone to utilize something that can help them? Or what are the methodologies that are out there right now that you've been in your research that are showing, or that can help, or ways to create this longevity and hit that escape velocity?
All right. So, of course, it's a huge topic. We could talk about that for hours. I'll just start at the beginning. So, longevity has 3 areas for me. The first one is longevity basics. So these are things that we can already do right now. Nutrition, mindset, sleep, lifestyle choices, and so on. And we should all do it. Not doing it, it's like a death wish. Then the second part is, I call it biohacking upgrades. And these are supplements, medications, cold plunges, saunas, red light therapy, and so on. There's quite a lot of it. And we should all also do as much as we can to stay, as healthy as possible for another 20 years. And then I believe that within the next 20 years, we will get to the real usage of radical life extension tools. And then we will be able to prolong our lives by 20, 50, or 100 years, ultimately, just step by step. And then why not hundreds? So these are these three spheres. And I even put it on a longevity map that I created before our quest, and we're just filling in the blanks. So, okay, getting to your question, because I understand that you are more interested about this radical life extension. So yes, it is coming, and we have a lot of that. Usually when my friends, doubt when I say, hey, I want to live at least 500, because one lifetime is not enough. And they, oh man, you're crazy, maybe 150 or something. And then I say, there is just one technology out of thousands that are being developed, and it's called 3D bioprinting. And this will give us spare parts. So imagine having a car without spare parts. It's going to die within the next 2 or 3 years. So we are like this car without spare parts. And now we're getting them. You need an eye, you get an eye. You need a heart, you get a heart. You need a liver, and so on and so on. So only these, I believe, will get us another 50 years or more. But then something that is just right around the corner. These are genetic therapies. And we met Liz Parrish, who is a CEO of BioViva, a company based in US. And they are working on the genetic therapies to prolong our life substantially. And they are, stopping muscle dystrophy or stopping mind deterioration, or they are activating our mitochondria. And they are already available. They still need to be tested on, thousands of people and many, many cases. But it's not that we're going to wait for it for another 50 years. It's just here. So I love that. And I told Liz that whenever she needs a lab rat, I'm here, just test it on me. I'm open, because she tested it on herself and the results were, astonishing.
Yeah, it's just cool, and I'm only intrigued because that's the stuff I keep looking at. I've heard about the bioprinting and all that stuff, and it's just going to be next level stuff that can, instead of needing someone else's, let's say a kidney or whatever it may be, it's just there you go. We'll be printed up. Here it is, and it's and so forth, which is kind of cool. So we'll scale it down. I went to the big one. Now we'll go to the other ones, the ones you were sharing earlier. So let's get to that first one. You were talking a lot about mindset and nutrition and stuff like that. I know before we hopped on, you talked a little bit heavy on the mindset side. I love to just, start there, because these are things that people can do starting today.
Yes.
What are some, I'm tipping into the mindset side, but whatever you want to share, go for it. But it's one of the things that, what are things that people can start doing today on that low hanging fruit, that the first step, the first seer that you shared with us?
So I believe that the right mindset is the most important one, because if you are unhappy with your life, if you're depressed, if you don't want to live another day, then you're going to die soon. And when you have a will to live and you love every day and you just can't wait to see another one, and you have a purpose in your life, then it just pulls you forward. And you need this mindset, to prioritize your wellness over convenience, because I think that now the biggest problem of our world is convenience. People choose just eating fast food or eating whatever is in the fridge over cooking something amazing for themselves, or they choose just watching TV over going and exercising or being active outside and so on. So I think that convenience is the biggest threat to our lifespan and our health span. And if you have the right mindset, you will overcome that. So that's the basis. Of course, you have mindfulness, you have meditation, and a lot of tools that can have. And also being social in your life and just loving yourself and loving the others is the basics. And then you can go to the next level and think about your nutrition, think about being active, prioritize your sleep, and sleep at least 7-8 hours a day, which regenerates you, and so many more. And this is right here, right now. And just to give you a glimpse into how that is important, there is statistic that being active, exercising every day, is more important than not having diabetes and not smoking. So it's better to exercise while having diabetes and smoking, rather than not exercising and being healthy.
Crazy, isn't it? And it only takes 20 minutes. I mean, you don't need much, minimum
Exactly.
of 20, right? What a great small little amount for an investment on there. And I love how you're sharing with the mindset. I mean, it's everything. I mean, even if you don't believe that you can live to 500, right? It's not going to happen. Well, but there's things coming now that it can support that, intrigue or open up or live a longer life. Because a lot of times people aren't afraid they're not afraid about, I may say this wrong, but they're not afraid about getting older. They're just afraid about the physical state of what they'll be when they're at that state. It sounds about the same thing though. But you get where I'm saying that, right? Because I always tell people, when I'm a chiropractor, it's the other thing I've done. So I've worked with a lot of patients, and when it talks about getting older, they're always like, I kind of don't look forward to it. I'm like, why? Well, as you older, things get worse, things this, and I'm always like, don't think that. Because
Exactly.
if you really, and here's how I share this with the listeners here on the podcast and so forth, is that when you truly believe in something, even what's going to happen is you're going to be exposed to someone like yourself who's doing all this research, and all of a sudden you're like, wow, this is cool, this is intriguing. Where before, if you didn't believe it, you would have heard, somebody would have heard this kind of information and just totally their mind would have just excluded it. It would have filtered it out and never heard of it, and they wonder why that goes down that route. So that's why I love the mindset side of things, because I think that's crucial in all, even before nutrition, even before anything else, because you can take something that's good nutritionally, but if you think that it's not going to help you and you fully believe in it, it's not going to do nothing for you. So what are some things that, so we got the mindset side of things. What about some nutrition? You mentioned cold plunge and saunas. You're talking my world. So let's chat here.
Yeah, there's a lot of fun in it. Of course, nutrition, it's a complicated topic because you have so many different information all around you. But first of all, we just came from Okinawa in Japan, and they have a rule of eating 80% full. And, science says if you eat 80% full, you have 80% of the waste that all the other people have around you. So this is like very, very important, just not overeating. This is the first rule. The other one is just, first of all, not eating sugar, because this is the killer. And of course, we don't like when we are told what to do, what not to do, what not to eat. But in my opinion, as we did with the cigarettes, and there you can see, what cigarettes do to you on all the packages, I think the same thing should go with Coca-Cola or Nesquik or all the other things that contain sugar, just saying, okay, you eat sugar, you get a cancer. You eat sugar, you get diabetes. People should know about that. And I think that there should be regulation around that, because this is like the biggest threat to us all now. And I've heard that all these tobacco companies are switching to food industry because they can make people, just addicted to that again. So, yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with you. I mean, sugar, they've done studies with, I think it was mice, and they were cocaine addicted mice. And then they put sugar there, and they wanted to see who won. I think it was 45 mice in total, and I think 43 out of the 45 switched over to the sugar. Just from an addicted property on top of everything else. Yeah, and I love the whole 80% full. So basically, you're saying that you eat to a point to where you feel 80% full.
Yeah, exactly. And this already gives you a huge advantage. Just don't over it.
I'm gonna have to work on that. Thanksgiving's coming up here in the United States, and I'm so looking forward to jam packing my stomach. So it's gonna be interesting. No, but I like that. And so, what about you mentioned cold plunges and things like that. What are some of the things that people can do? I mean, you said saunas. What other things on top of that for that second sphere?
So we have a lot of supplements that we know are working well for longevity, and just look them up, test them. But what all the scientists were saying, at this moment, you should maybe take 2 or 3 supplements, because if you take more of them, they can counteract with each other and actually do more harm than do good. So unless we will get to regular screening of our body, of our blood, saliva, and everything, and we will know that these supplements were good for us, let's wait. I think it's still 1 or 2 years to go till we will have regular screening available, like every week or every month. I've just read an article that there are going to be in US like small boxes with AI doctor where you can go and test your blood, test your saliva, test your DNA. I think it's going to be a big breakthrough soon. So these are supplements. I love saunas and cold plunges. And actually, as we were traveling with my son, we were so happy when we came to Japan, and there they have the culture of saunas and cold plunges. And we just love that, because this gives you energy, and this is working as hormesis. So it makes you a little bit of harm, but then it triggers your body to regenerate, and it does a lot of good to you. But then you have these red light therapies, and there you have hyperbaric chambers, which do, miracles with your body, and many, many, many more. So some of them are, just readily available, around the corner. To some, you have to go to longevity clinics. But as I'm talking to my friends and showing them this longevity map, I'm just saying, just do whatever you can from that. You don't have to do everything, because sometimes people are asking, oh, is Bluetooth good for me? Is Wi-Fi good for longevity? I say, no, probably it's not so great, but it doesn't matter so much. It's like a promile of the impact you're getting from all the other stuff. So, just do whatever you can to stay as healthy as possible for another 20 years. And in the meantime, the scientists will get really great breakthroughs.
I love it. No, and I tell people sometimes I love hyperbaric chambers. I've been in some of the old school, ones that you like get sealed in, all metal and all that, and that freaked me out. But pretty cool stuff. But I always tell people too, like they'll be, well, I can't do it all the time, or I can't afford it. I said, just do breath work. You oxygenate the body. It's just not oxygenating at the high levels of that, but you're still going to oxygenate your body, so that way
breath work is amazing.
Oh, it's I've been practicing that for 10 years now, and it's I'm so blessed to have been exposed to that. It's a game changer. But it's amazing how with the hot and cold, what it can just do. Some people say, I can't afford a cold plunge, or I can't go take cold showers. You can do that. Right.
Exactly.
Even though here's the weird thing. I don't like cold showers. I rather go jump in like 40-degree water than take a cold shower. Some people think it's a little weird, but if you've taken cold showers, you don't just get one hit. You get one, you got to turn, and then after maybe 4 or 5, you're like, okay, now my body's used to this. Cold plunge, it's all at once, 10, 15, 20 seconds, and then I'm like, all right, I'm good now.
Yeah, but actually, when we talk with my son about saunas and cold plunges are the best part of the sauna, at least for us.
I love that, especially when you're doing the sauna. Are you doing infrared, or are you doing the dry heat one?
The dry one.
Yeah, that's the one. I have the infrared, but it's one of the things that I like to. I told my wife next project in the next year or two, or maybe when we build a house or something, I told her I want to build a dry sauna just for that purpose, so I can go into 180-degree temps and higher, and then hop in cold, and then just cycle through that, which would be a lot easier because infrared's great, but it only gets to like 140. It might with me in there, it probably only gets to about 130. But I sweat. It's hot, but it's not to that level of intense heat. I digress. So let's talk a little bit about your son really quick. I mean, this is such a cool journey. How old's your son?
My son is 17. He just finished his high school, and I took him on a gap year.
I love that. And so how's the experience been for you, for a dad, and everything that you're going through, being able to take your son through this? Because is he passionate and curious about longevity also, or is it something that you're just like, let's just spend time together and join me on this, and we'll make memories together?
So at the beginning, he was curious about that, but he was not as passionate as I was. But he said, okay, let's go on this trip. Let's explore this longevity. But at one point, when I told him that we're going to do a documentary during our quest, at the beginning, he said, oh, I didn't sign up for that. Like, you are a longevity advocate. I'm not. I just want to have, a great time, go surfing, go hiking, and explore all these countries. But then I asked him, Alec, do you take care of your body? Yes, I do. Do you take care of your nutrition? Yes, I do. So I say, you are a biohacker. So, and when you inform other people about that, your friends, you are becoming a longevity advocate. And that's how it started. And then when we started traveling, and he was also interviewing these top scientists from all over the world, or healers on Bali, or in other, countries, he became more and more into that, interested in that. And now, he's full longevity advocate. So I'm really proud about that.
Love that. What's one of the greatest things you've enjoyed so far, having just your son through this whole process? And there's probably a lot of them, but if you can just think of what's the first one that comes to mind?
So the first thing is that it's not all beautiful and pinky and so on. We have our, hard times, and we are angry at each other. But then, we are together like 24 hours a day, and we sleep in the same room, in the same hotel, and so on. So we just have to resolve all the problems. So, we go apart for a little bit and then say, okay, let's talk. and we just go deeper and deeper into our relationship, and we get more and more flow. And usually when we meet people on the way and they're asking, how can you survive together for a year? I would never be able to do it with my father. I would never be able to do it with my daughter. And, we say, I don't know, we just go along. We just learn how to fix stuff between us. And I think this is the most amazing part. Like, we would never have that just living in our country, in our apartment at home.
No, it's true. You remember you said earlier, convenience is a thing, and I always say convenience. Anytime you do something with convenient, or it's convenient, there's a loss there. You're giving up something, and you're doing something where being at home and just having them there all around us and that, and they'll have that. There's a convenience there, but when you have those struggles, that was a question I was going to ask, but you answered it already. In those hard moments, or those hard times, or just the turbulence of any relationship, because there's going to be turbulence. I love what and I appreciate you being honest and sharing that. But that deepens the bond and relationship. And would you agree that has for you and your son? And you guys are only 3 months into the journey, right?
Exactly.
I'm so curious to see how it's going to be at the end of all this, and how much more stronger of a bond you're going to have with your son, and just this whole entire thing.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be better and better and better, and we will almost become like one. And for me also, it's a big lesson, because anytime we're not aligned, I'm just thinking, is he a mirror for me? Am I a mirror for him? Like, is what he behaves, is it because he saw that in me? So it's like constant analysis and just learning curve. So I love that. It's not so easy, but that's wonderful. So this for me is the best thing. And when I, talk with my friends back home, I just tell them, just try to do that with your daughter, with your son, even for half a year. Just do that. Be bold, challenge yourself. Don't stay in the safe zone.
No, I love that. I couldn't agree with you more on all that. I mean, I remember when I was getting ready to move from Chicago to go to Tennessee, and it was one of those things where we had an investment property that we were able to get. And I told my dad, I grew up with my dad. All we did was work. That was kind of like my relationship with him. Whenever he needed help with his business, his work, I just have to go. And so I said, Dad, I'm going to turn the table around. It's going to be you and me. We're going to work on a project that I'm excited for. It's going to be a lot of work for you too, but we'll bond in that. And it was great. It was some outside the norm. It was an inconvenience. I was in a car with him for 8 hours down, 8 hours back, once a month, every weekend for 10 months. But at the end of it all, it was a great journey just to connect. I heard stories that my dad never told me, a story about, maybe about himself or his upbringing, and it's just stuff that I never heard. And I was just like, I would have never known that if we didn't do something, which was an inconvenience. Because some people are like, why are you doing an investment property 8 hours away from your house? You're going there once a month. You run a business. You got another business that you're running, and you're going to spend one weekend a month away from your wife, and all this other stuff, and blah 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 blah. And I was like, it'll be all worth it. I get to bond with my dad. So I just love the what you got going on there, and the mirror thing is so true. Our kids, if a parent can really just stay aware and see in their children, because they are a part of you, and
Sure.
they can help you heal. I mean, I only have a daughter that's 16 months, and what she's done for me in 16 months has been mind-blowing, because this is stuff that anytime I'm always trying to be aware as much as I can. What do I need to heal on next? What's showing up? What's coming up? And then I have to ask those questions too. So I love that. It's exciting.
Imagine when she will be 17.
I can only imagine. And so that's why I'm like, after the end of all this, I'm going to have you back on. I think that's an avenue we can tap into more if you're interested. But before we wrap up, I want to just hear for the listeners, how can they find you, connect with you, follow your journey, all that good stuff?
So first of all, we have an Instagram account, Longevity Advocate. And very important that if you'd like to get this longevity map that we are following, just DM me MAP, and you will get it straight away. And I think it's the first step to your longevity. Then we have the website, longevityadvocate.com, where are the basics of longevity. But the most important will be the movie that we are working on now, so Beyond Time. And in a couple of weeks, we're going to release a trailer, so you can get the feeling of our journey, how amazing it is, and just wait for that. It will be probably a year to wait, because as we finish our journey, we will still have to edit it for like 3 months. But I believe it's going to be worth it.
Well, I can't wait to check it out. Marek, thank you for taking the time to come out and listen and share your wonderful wisdom and your journey and your story and in your journey with your son and everything with us here. I commend you on all this. I love it. I'm going to be definitely following and keep in touch with you, and keep up the great work, my friend.
Thank you. And I hope to see you soon in real life.